You are tuned in to that praisey station, praise.fm, where we get our praise on. 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Hello, everybody. I got this music playing in my head. Don't y'all like that intro? Don't it just put a little bounce in your ounce right now? Just put a little bounce in it. Let's bounce. Let's bounce. Let's bounce. We keeping it live here at the Momentum Shift. I am so excited. I need you guys to share though, because I only see 6 people here live. So please, let's get this back out here. I was on a little hiatus, but we got to get back in the room. I need you to welcome people into the room. I'm sharing it to my page in different groups. I need y'all to share this. Share this right now, because there's something that's in it for everybody. Friends, enemies, frenemies, cousins, family, your mama. Yeah, I said it, your mama. You can say your mama and it don't have to be fighting words, right? See, I ain't saying nothing bad about your mama. I said share it with your mama, your sister, your daddy. Well, your daddy might not be interested in this subject. Well, I take that back, because I'm gonna tell you a little secret. Parents, y'all not gonna believe this, but men want to know how to be better fathers and how to be better spouses. They don't say it out loud, but they do, and they would like the opportunity to fix a few things that they might be doing messed up. So tonight, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna fix some stuff. Me and my sister Sade, and no, fix it, Drea. I told y'all, I killed her, cremated her, all that. She gone. But oh yeah, she way gone. But the new Drea enjoys being able to have real conversations, right? And which is the reason why. Let me see if this. Let there be light. And there was. Y'all, I've had a rough few days. So because of that, I'm gonna have some fun tonight. I needed some laughter. I needed my sister to come on tonight. Guys love it when somebody says yes. When you ain't gotta beg them, you ain't gotta push the care and stuff like that. But you know, she does know more about than just that. Sade has many lives. She's an author. She's a mommy. She's a sister. She's an auntie. And most importantly, she's my friend.
Aww.
Yes.
You can't start the waterworks before the show.
No, I'm about to start crying. But she is. But before we get into the nitty gritty, I want to take a pause for the cause, and she's going to get me. But without Dr. Lady Rain, making it rain on the other, y'all, this lady is so tenacious at everything. She shows up. Even when she don't feel like showing up, she still shows up. And for that, I appreciate her, because she's the one who makes all this happen. And there's a lot of work that goes into it. So please send stars to the station. Praise.fm radio has been nominated. It's just constantly getting nominated for different things. What we're gonna win. We keep getting. Gotta remember this show. This station is still sort of a baby. I mean, how long has the station been active? Okay, 2018. Okay, it's what, 4 years old. And yes, how many times has this station been nominated for awards to be a baby? Hanging with the big dogs, getting it with the old folks. Some stations that's been around a long time, that's in other parts of the country, which has a different audience base, all kinds of stuff going on. And so for a baby station in its infant stages, growing on into some things, this is pretty awesome. So we're on the winning streak, and we are going to win. So the more you keep doing, getting out there, God's going to bless you, because he sees your faithfulness and your consistency and your tenacity to not give up. And because of that, and all the people who come alongside you to help that happen, make that happen, God is going to do it. So Hello. Oh, Shalonda. Hello, Shalonda. Shalonda in class. Lord Jesus. Speaking of class, Christ Central University is everything, y'all. Y'all need to enroll in in those programs. Dr. Lady Rain is making it rain in so many different places. She is spreading her wings. She's starting to fly and soar like the eagle God has called her to be. So because of that, check out her brand new university. Christ Central University is offering the chaplaincy program. And I can't remember the name of the other program. I'll make sure I put it. Christian Life and Career Management. Joyce is up. Joyce, hey Joyce. Welcome back to AZ. Hi Yvette. Yvette just scheduled. She just celebrated a birthday last week, so you guys shout her out on here. Hello, Shalonda. Hey, Tamara. That's right, we making it bounce. Hey, Kimmy. Hi, Latricia Thompson. Trying to think. Yes, y'all keep saying. Hi, Pastor Deborah. I know I just said hi to Kim. Thank you for those stars, Kim. Y'all keep sending. Please share this broadcast because we want people to come on and know that we are live. I'm trying to find my page. Oh, here we go. If I could spell. So, enroll in these programs, y'all. I'm for real. Share with your friends. We need to get this university going. We need these shows going. You know, someone wants their own show. You think you can have your own show. We will support you because on this station, we support each other. So, I'm excited. Like I said, I hope I don't have lettuce in my teeth because I was trying to eat in between jobs, y'all. All between these lives. Hi, Jeanette. Y'all, Jeanette's so awesome. It was her wedding anniversary and she hopped on the show last week.
Aww.
Talk about dedication. I don't take that lightly. I love my sisters that come on. Pastor Deborah's in the house. We miss you, Pastor Deborah. Hello. Always so happy. You know, this just brings joy to my soul. You know, when you got that joy on the inside of your soul, that's a different kind of joy. That's not that outward stuff when it's on the inside. You know, and it's the people who come alongside and support you all the time are the ones who really keep us going and keep us encouraged. Well, Sade and I tonight, y'all know Sade, and I know that she's really the only reason why y'all on here tonight, because she and Kim had their own life on my show.
Hey, friend.
We're going to have to try to get Kim back on here. We haven't had Kim in a while. I miss Kim. Kim! We need you to hop on. Also, guys, this is, before we get into the nitty gritty, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And, oh, thank you, Jeanette. She gonna order some popcorn. Yeah, that's a whole different life of mine. I need y'all to order some popcorn for our youth and community programs that we're doing out here at the West Valley. So just know that whatever you donate is actually going to serve the community that most of us live in. So it's really awesome. And we're going to get Kim back on here because it's been a minute. And Kim, everybody loves Kim. She need her own show. Everybody loves Kim. Which, for those of you all who are old enough to know everybody hates Chris, which I did. Hated the show and don't particularly care for the person that they're talking about. However, that's a whole nother show. But Anthony messed me up when he told me he just celebrated his 30th birthday. And I thought, how is that even possible? That the kid that played Chris on Everybody Hates Chris just turned 30. So, yeah. So Kim needs her own show. We need the 50 and above version of that show. We just not going to call it hate. It's going to be Everybody Loves Kim. And that's really true. I love you guys. I love Sade. Welcome to the show, Sade. We are talking about, although Sade is closer to this age, way closer. Why did you pick that age?
So going through some things.
Oh, God. So this topic is all on Sade. So I'm gonna let her tell you what it is because that just messed with my spirit when I thought about what our topic was. And I didn't think about it when you picked it. But when I think about the age differential, I'm like, really, Sade? That was only 10 minutes ago for you. But tell the people what your idea was to talk about tonight, and let's get into it. Let's get at it.
Gotcha. So tonight is really fun for me because I want to kind of talk about things that I would tell my 25-year-old self. So for anybody who is in the chat, in the audience, Drea, yourself, you know, most people I would imagine are at least 30 and above. So maybe Anthony could pick up some information, somebody tag him on this. But I wanted to talk about just advice that I would give my 25-year-old self, because if any of you all were like me when I was 25, I will say, and I will be the first to admit, that I was young and dumb. That's a label that I would put on myself. And what I mean by that is that when I was 25, I made a lot of poor life decisions. And so being a woman who is well past the age of 35 and on my way to 40.
10 minutes ago.
Yes, more than 10 years ago. But being, of course, 10 years plus removed from 25, this is just kind of a cool project that I'm working on personally and professionally for that matter, just to kind of give some advice to my 25-year-old self, but also in the spirit of legacy, kind of reaching back to our younger generation who, and just in my personal opinion, kind of need a little bit of guidance, just to be able to share a little bit of wisdom to young people so that they don't have to make the same types of mistakes. One that I made, but that a lot of people made. One thing that I will say about myself when I was 25, although I was a little young and dumb, I learned from people who were older than me. So there were certainly a lot of things that I just chose intentionally to not do. A lot of mistakes that I didn't make simply because I learned from people who were older than me, whether they directly told me or I just paid attention and watched people's lifestyles. And so I think that there is really a value in being able to say, you know what, I'm well past 25, well into my 30s, closer to 40 than I would like to think. But there's definitely value in being able to just kind of evaluate my life, evaluate my decisions, and kind of give back in a way so that other young people won't necessarily have to make the same mistakes. And then it's also a lesson for myself today, because a lot of the things that's on the list that, you know, we might get to tonight, I feel like I'm still learning. So yes, so that's kind of what the gist is for tonight. So is it okay if I start off with the first thing that's on my list?
Of course.
So the first thing that I wish that I would have known when I was 25, that I think that I have a handle on now today, is that no is a complete sentence.
Ooh, that is up on the board
You
in my
can,
room.
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
You put a period on it. And I'll tell you why.
Period. With a bunch of P's at the end. Period.
I'll tell you why that has a lot of meaning for me. So when I was 25 and well into my 20s, into my 30s, I said yes to everything. And I said yes to a lot of things that I shouldn't have said yes to in terms of helping people. That I personally think that's just a part of how I'm wired. It's just how the good Lord made me. I want to help people. You know, if I have a skill, if I have a talent, you know, I want to be able to add value to people by helping them. And so when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, and well into my 30s, I said yes to a lot of things. So how many, you know, Andrea, when you have a particular skill and people know you have a particular skill, people will ask you to do things. And this isn't like shame anybody that I have helped in the past or anything like that. It's just me recognizing that I did not get a lot of things done because in the name of saying yes and wanting to help people. And so for me, what it looked like was, let's say somebody wanted me to, I don't know, write a letter of recommendation for them, something like that. And letters of recommendation don't take a whole lot of time. But if I had something else that needed to get done, let's say in that same time slot, I would bypass getting my stuff done. And then I would go ahead and just take care of whatever, the person asked me to do. I would write that letter of recommendation. And then I would have to scramble to do whatever it was that I had to do. But what ended up happening is that over time, I would say yes and yes to bigger projects and bigger projects. And then the things that I should have done, that I was responsible for doing, got done less frequently, in a sense that not only was I scrambling at the end, but it got to the point where certain things I just didn't do. And so I kind of missed out on a lot of things when I was younger, a lot of things that I could have been done. And when I say when I was younger, I'm talking about 25, but I'm also talking about 25, 27, 30, 33, 30, like into my 30s. Say that one more time.
How old are you now?
Not a day over 21, honey.
But this is like real talk though, real for real. I mean, I'm joking in the midst of it, but it's true. So true. I look back in that, and I could look back at things I wish I could get my time back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because of regret either. So I get what you're saying. Like in the moment, I mean, there's nothing you can do about the past, and really the only thing I have control over is my moment right now. Can't wait tomorrow either. However, learning from not having the balance that you're talking about,
mm-hmm.
and it's and figuring out when to say yes to the things you need to say yes to, and be okay with saying no, because no doesn't have to be forever, but it's no now.
Exactly. And I think for me, what I didn't recognize 10 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, what I didn't recognize was that I was a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people operate out of people pleasing. And to me, that was a level of dysfunction for me.
Okay.
And so I thought, like, okay, if I said yes, I would be helping the person. So my heart was in the right place. But also in some ways I felt like, this person will like me more. And there's some other things on my list that kind of like ties into that idea of me kind of like struggling and having challenges with my self-esteem. And we'll probably get into it a little bit. But it was just this idea of me being so focused on pleasing people that I just did not get my work done. And so I bring that up because a lot of young people, and a lot of people in general, but especially when you're young, can fall into that trap of saying yes, being a people pleaser, and then not doing what you are supposed to do. And what happened to me over time, what happened is that I began to resent people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not, I'm not saying that this has nothing to do with anybody personally or individually, but it just, over time, I would say yes, but internally I would be screaming no, And so as I began to resent people for even asking me to do certain things, which of course I'm making the choice. So it was all, me in terms of accountability. I began to be sloppy in the work that I produced for people. And when someone asks you to do something, they trust their project, their baby, they trust their work. They entrust it with you. And when you give someone your baby, you want people to take care of your baby. And so I began to get sloppy and resent, just even doing the work. And so I went through a weird period, and this is probably right before the pandemic, but definitely transitioning into 2020, where I just started saying no to everybody in an extreme way. I didn't consider certain things. It was just a no. So I kind of went on one end of the dysfunctional area of saying yes to everything, to the other end of saying no to everything. And so now, I'm in a space where, I'm back at, if I have the capacity to do it, absolutely. There are certain people that I will absolutely under no circumstances say no to. It will always be a yes. It just is what it is, in terms of the relationship that I have with certain people. But there's certain things, if I don't have the capacity to do a certain project, because I have a lot on my plate right now, I'm much more comfortable with saying, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I don't have the capacity. This is not my area of skill. Because what I found that I was doing, I was also doing things that I wasn't even particularly good at, but didn't have the courage to say, I'm sorry, I'm really not good. So then I'm producing work that's not necessarily, it's not terrible, but it's not good either, simply because it's not my area. So that's one of the things that if I could talk to my 25-year-old self, I would shake her and say, it's okay to say no, and it doesn't mean that it's anything negative towards the person. It just means you may not have the capacity for that right now, maybe in the future, maybe at another time, or maybe you won't altogether, and being comfortable in saying, okay, Sade, but that's okay.
Exactly. And it's ironic that we're talking about this because I didn't have a chance to overview to talk, the subject area, the specific areas you wanted to talk about. But it's ironic that we start with this because I just had this whole conversation in group today during processing and kind of what the Lord kind of shared with me, because obviously I can't preach in group, but he'll give different tidbits of certain things, and in particular to that, and I forgot whatever the client said that kind of made this come to the forefront, but we got to talking about being a choice rather than an option, or making a choice rather than becoming somebody's option. And so as I'm writing, formulating things for my book, God is actually, he's been speaking to me, obviously, about me and the choices that I've made and areas where I've allowed myself to be an option, or be the option is probably more what I should say. Because what I've found is that performance-based activity or performance-based relationships are just that. In both parties or whoever's involved it's not that the person consciously says, oh, I'm going to use them until I can't use them anymore. That's not how it happens. It sort of happens organically. You become, and so I said, we'll have this invisible S that comes up on our chest, right? And we become the savior of every issue. We become the fixer of this, that, or the other. And so we teach people how to expect that from us. And you don't always feel like save the day. I forget which superhero used to say, it was back when I was a kid, he used to come on something about, here I come to save the day. It was sort of like that. I can't remember exactly which cartoon character it was.
That's over my head, sis. That's over my head.
Well, it's before your time. Like I said, it was probably, it might have been Popeye. I think it might have been from Popeye. And when he ate his spinach, he could save the day, sort of thing. But the caveat to that was he would prepare for that assignment. He would do what it took in order to be able to do that. But when he didn't have his spinach, he didn't see himself as this strong. He wanted to be like, I think his name was Brute. I hope I'm not mixing two cartoons together because that's possible. However, the point I'm making is
Brutus was a bully. He was a bully to Popeye.
He was, but he was a bully, but there were certain things about him that Popeye longed to be like. And so oftentimes, and I think the underlying, we're not going to be able to do this all in one night. So I can tell you, we're going to have to prepare more sessions for this because this is such important communication. But I think a lot of how we get here is something happens when we're kids that tells us we're not good enough.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the basis, the underlying issue to how we get in performance-based relationships in the first place. Because when your thoughts about yourself are not quite where they need to be, it's easy to draw. It's like we become a magnet to people needing us because that's somehow wrapped up in our esteem and our value system. And it's not really, I'm not saying that they don't play a part in it, because they do. But at the same time, we open the door to be put in that situation. And I'm not saying that we're at fault for it or whatever. I'm not saying that. I am saying that we will have a tendency to draw people who don't necessarily respect you in the way that everyone deserves, or receive you in the way. And it's easy if you're giving away your help here and help there, it's like there's this email that goes out and says, oh, I know who you can ask Sade, or ask Lady Raid, or she'll do it. She'll do it. She'll do it. And like you said, secretly, you get to a place where you're starting to resent it and you want to start saying no, but then you're afraid if you say no, then this. So it's like being stuck kind of almost in a vacuum. So how did you discover that you were giving away your option to choose and becoming everybody's option? How did you discover that piece? That's my terminology, but how did you discover that's what was going on and start shifting it?
I think at a certain point it became very painfully obvious for me that the projects, the things that I wanted to do, I just wasn't doing it. And so then I would have to ask myself why. Like, okay, Sade, why is this not getting done? And in the spirit of accountability, I would most certainly acknowledge, like, okay, because I'm doing X, Y, and Z for these people over here. But after a while, I just got tired. And then I got tired of complaining to my best friends about why I'm not where I want to be. And then I just started looking at how I was using my time, what I was doing, like where my time and my focus was. And I'm like, a part of it, not the whole reason, part of it was that I'm like, yeah, you doing all of this random stuff for other people, which is good things, right? It's good work. It is a good thing. I guess I want to keep the scales balanced and say it's good to help people, right? No man is an island. And I think that we are all here, because we need one another in some capacity to do things. So I don't want it to be, I just want to keep the scales balanced. But at the same time, if I'm not being effective in my assignment and what I should be doing, and the only thing that I can say is, okay, well, I'm helping these people over here. That was a part of me being accountable. But then when I stopped helping and doing so much for other people, and I still was not producing like I would have liked, I was producing, but not in the ways that I would like, I also had to do more reflection. So I think a big part was just for me being very intentional about looking at my life and saying, okay, Sade, you're complaining about all these things. Why is this happening? How are you spending your time? How are you, expanding your focus? What are you focusing on? And I think for me, the bigger picture came. And when I was 25, especially in my early mid-20s, I was very concerned about people not wanting to be connected to me if I did not, help them in a way that I know that I could have been helpful. And then when I stopped doing certain things, or when I started to decline certain projects, I realized that certain people didn't want to be bothered with me anyways. and it wasn't painful. That bad.
Yeah. And it's painful in the beginning, right? Like when you have that season of discovery. It is painful. I mean, that's real. Let's be real about that. It doesn't feel great. But at the same time, it's kind of paradoxical in that it's the best of times and the worst of times. It's at the same time. I mean, you hate it, except that what you gain from it, if you make it through the process of navigation, you learn that, it's kind of like this thank you, God, at the same time.
It is. I will say, yes, I will definitely agree with that. What I will add is that it wasn't as bad as I thought that it would be to have certain people not want to interact with me if I did not engage and complete their projects. But again, in the spirit of accountability, some people in the process of doing sloppy work or not even doing their projects at all, some people are hurt. So some people chose to not interact with me because they were upset that they had given me, their baby, right? Their project, whatever that thing was, and I did not complete it. At all, or to a level that would have been, what their expectations were. So some people were hurt. And I think, again, in the spirit of accountability, I also had to acknowledge and say, okay, Sade, you messed up, you dropped the ball. How do we not get into a situation like this again? And I think all of those things kind of coming together really encouraged me to say, okay, Sade, it's okay to say no. It actually is okay to say, I don't have the capacity, because in reality, I didn't. I was stressed. I was tired. I was overworked. If anybody knows me, you know, at any given moment, I have about 11 jobs.
Yes.
In a lot of areas, I just didn't have the capacity. And again, just being comfortable with saying, Sade, that's okay. You can't do everything. You can't be, you know, Supergirl. You can't be Superman at any moment.
Well, I mean, think about it though. That's what we as women in particular, and this desire to like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do that, and the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll run ourselves into the ground if we're not careful.
Oh yeah.
And if I say this often, if you don't deal with it, it will deal with you sooner or later. You get worn down to the point where you don't have a choice you have the choice to ignore it, but it becomes so painfully obvious that you can't help but see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't go away. Like every time you look at the mirror, you see it.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not careful and we don't deal with it, it will just totally just take control over us if we're not careful. So it's time for the break. I'm going to ask that you guys do not go away. I want you to stick around for the second part of this discussion, because Sade has really talked about some things that literally I talk about every day to myself first. And I also share with the people that I have the blessing to the opportunity to be able to serve. And it's important that we, you know, she's talking about the 25-year-old self, and it's great to talk to the 20-year-old and the 25-year-old, but some of us need to talk to our 50-year-old self about some of the behaviors we're continuing and break that cycle, because that's what it becomes, and it's not a healthy one. So we'll be back in a few minutes, so you guys stick around until the momentum shift comes back with my sis Sade. See you in a few.
Shop Soulful Touch Roses for your personally designed rose at soulfultouchgifts.etsy.com.
Have you ever wanted to host your own inspirational radio show? Have you been called to inspire and spread God's word? Please contact Alicia Rain for more info.
Are you the next great independent artist, but you're looking for a distribution opportunity? Well, sign with us at Praise.fm Music Distribution. Yes, the 2021 Stellar Award nominated Praise.fm can handle it all. We understand the narrow road leading to getting your music heard at the right time at the right place can be tough. So send your music and video files to fmpraise@gmail.com. That's fmprayz@gmail.com. Praise.fm Music Distribution, affiliated with Sony Music and the Orchard Distributors.
I could be on top of the world again. Just hold on to his unchanging hand. Be a part of the plan that he laid out. Live life up till it fade out. Fading, fading, fading away. Fading, fading, fading away. Give me 5 words with a meaning. Over 10,000 tongues when it sound like screaming. Scenes from the nightlife, whole team glimmering the keys. Both room and a whip for the evening. Midnight air when I breathed in. Feel the devil's breath on my neck like he leaned in. Got her too high, hit a tailspin. Want nobody in the pit with me when I fell in. Caught a L then, jailed in.
Lift your voice and say, oh, 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 let's get crazy. You say, oh, 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 let's get crazy. You say, oh, 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 let's get crazy. You say, oh, 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 let's get crazy. Lift your voice, oh, 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 let's get crazy. You say, oh, 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 let's get crazy. You say, oh, 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 let's get crazy.
Unique Sounds Music Group presents a music fest on Carnival Freedom, January 26th through the 30th, 2023. Sailing from Orlando, Florida to Nassau and Princess Cay, Bahamas. Reserve your spot today with just $25 by contacting booking at uniquesounds.com.
Attention! Music Fest has opened its doors of opportunity for a short period of time to musical talents to perform. For more information about participating in the Music Fest shows, please contact Let's Connect at A2ZChristlife.com or www.praise.fm.
Are you interested in continuing your education, certificate, or degree that will prepare you in the ministry and equip you in the marketplace? Come make Christ Central University your home. Visit us at www.myccu.online.
Welcome back to the Momentum Shift, everyone. I want you to share it again because some people are perusing and all kinds of stuff is going on. So we want to remind people that we're on here live. So please share this broadcast with everyone you're connected to. I'm having great dialogue with my sister and friend, Sade, Bradford-Bond. She's an author. She's a mommy. She's an entrepreneur. She has so many things going on. She's a wife. She happens to be married to my baby brother. God help her. It's just hard to believe my baby brother is actually married with a child, a whole wife and a whole child.
Yes, ma'am.
For that little boy at his birth. And I remember him crying every time I left the house because he thought he had to be with me. I actually still, he was 3 when I got married and moved away to England. And I remember his little face and how hard it was to leave him at the airport. It was he, my mom, and my grandma at the time, my Momo. I just remember having to say goodbye to him, and that was so hard to do. And now he's all grown up and married with his own child. Oh my God. And Matthew is absolutely amazing.
Yes, he is.
One of the best little nephews in the world. He knows everything. He can read, write, count, knows all his planets. We need to have Matthew on the show. No, for real. I'm gonna have to do a special taping to have Matthew on at a time when he's awake during his wake hours. Mm-hmm. He is so smart. He can tell you about everything. So if you follow Sade Bradford-Bond on Facebook, she often shares Matthew and his Matthew. I'm gonna have to do a segment called Matthew's Insights. Because I don't know what it is with me and naming shows, but that must be some kind of gift that I'm getting ready to develop something in that area. Who knows what God is going to do? But I want to remind you guys to enroll in Christ Central University for chaplaincy. If you're interested in ministry and Christian and leadership, entrepreneurship, sooner or later media, all kinds of things, all things ministry. This is the place that you want to be. Dr. Lady Rain has birthed her vision and her dream to do her own university, and I'm grateful to be a part of that. If you are looking for an opportunity to expand your knowledge base and your skill set, this is the university for you, Christ Central University. We are looking for enrollments. So if you want to be a part of that awesome work that God is doing in her and through her, if you don't know how to reach her, you know how to reach me. Hit me up and I will get you in contact with this awesome opportunity. Sade and I have been talking about things that we would say to our 25-year-old self, and I'm telling her that I'm saying it to my 54-year-old self. You don't have to wait till you're 54 to make the changes. She's in her 30s, her mid to late 30s. She don't want to tell me how old that is, like I don't know.
21.
She's 21 plus a whole bunch of years later. But you know what? There is no wasted time in God. And that's one thing I appreciate about God. And she's sharing her truth. I'm agreeing with her truth because, there are life lessons, and no, there's no regret. However, yes, I did say it. Yeah, there's some time. There ain't no wasted time in God, because if you take what you learn and apply it somewhere, then it's not wasted. However, I'll be honest, there's some of my time I'd like to be able to get back if I could. We can't get it back. But I think about how many other people's dreams and passions and other things that I said yes to. By saying yes to that, I was actually saying no to my own dreams and passions and whatnot. Do I have an attitude because I did it? No, because it's made me who I am today. But when we put things in the right perspective, you said something earlier that is true. No is a complete sentence. And that's one of those things that I remind people daily in my work life, that it's okay to say no, because that's something that I had to learn, that it was okay to say no, because saying no may come with a cost, but it's valuable, because it's costing us one way or the other. And that need to please comes from someplace, and it's not necessarily a healthy place. And that balancing act of when it's okay to say yes and when it's okay to say no. And you said something I think that had a lot of value. You talked about how at the beginning, we were talking about how did you transition from being the yes person to being the no. And no doesn't always mean no forever. Now, sometimes it does, but it's okay saying no right now, because right now is really all I have control over. I can't worry about tomorrow because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So, but I know what's going on right now, and it's okay to say no. So as I'm looking at, she actually, because she's Sade, she gave me talking points about areas that, and I'm, when I did look at it, I was like, there's no way we're going to do all this in one, because it's stuff that's so valuable that I didn't want to just hit it like bullet points. You have on here finishing what you start. What does that mean to you, and how did that end up on this list?
Yes. So for those who may not be aware, I'm an author, and I've published a few books. What a lot of people don't know is that I probably have somewhere north of 40 manuscripts.
I'll purchase one of those.
That I have started but never finished. And a lot of this stuff started happening when I was 25, around 25, I began to believe that I could be a good writer. And so I just started to write. So 25, 26, 27. I have so many manuscripts that I've started and stopped and went unfinished. And what oftentimes I think as people, right? We can, even as a Christian woman, but oftentimes as people, we don't always understand how our purpose is connected to other people. And I'm sitting with 40 unfinished books, right? That somebody needs to read, that's intended for somebody, because I never have ideas just for the sake of ideas. They're always designed, even like this list that we're talking about today, they're always designed not just for myself, but hopefully to be of value and to have an impact on other people. And so I would tell my if I would have told my 25 self to finish, what I started, I wouldn't still have those 40 books, manuscripts undone. But the importance of that for me is really about accountability. I think if nobody takes anything away tonight, it really is about this idea of me being accountable for the things that I know are God-given, and the things that I know that I should be producing, the things about myself that I know to be true, but I am not sharing with the world. or sharing with the one or two people that I should be sharing it with. And so this idea of completion is really important and really valuable to me today, simply because even if I never had another idea for a book to write, I would have 40 books that I could publish literally that will probably keep me busy for the next 3, 4, 5 years. But it's important when you recognize that people are connected to the things that I know that my ideas are in my books, my stories that they're generated for. Like there's a person on the other side of that story. And so that's probably one of the things that's most important to me. It's just be intentional about, if I say, okay, Sade, I have this really cool idea, and if I'm going to write it down, if I'm going to write it, if I know that this is something that's going to be at some point turned into a book or article or ebook or whatever the medium that it comes out into, it's really about being accountable and saying, okay, Sade, if you said you're going to do it, right? There's nobody standing over my shoulder saying, okay, Sade, make sure you get that done. It's really about me being accountable to myself and understanding that the talent and the gifting that I have is very much so God-given. And because of that, it's like, okay, Sade, you know, you're supposed to be a city on a hill, but you're kind of, if I can use that biblical reference, but for a significant portion of my life, but especially starting in my mid-20s, I could pinpoint when it started. I just was in a space where I just stopped completing the things that I started. And so it's important to make it to the finish line, because again, there's always a person that's connected to that story, whether it's one, whether it's a million, if there's somebody that's connected to that story. And I think that for me, I'm learning that it's actually selfish to start and not finish and not release the things that I know that I should be releasing. So I think that's why that made the list. If that's not number 1 or number 2, it's probably definitely in the top 5 on that list.
I think actually it's number 3. So, you know, I think that's extremely important, because I think about all the stuff that I started and I didn't finish. And because I wasn't a part of my continual process. I come in and out of things. Like, it's almost kind of like, for those who remember, what's the game where you were kind of like the video game from a long time ago, where you're in and out, like kind of in and out. And I know anybody who's ridden in the car with me, that's one of the things people say about how I drive, like how I would go in and out. Like, when you commute across Phoenix, you have to learn how to be strategic and intentional in the way you drive, because you'll never get where you need to go. The unfortunate part about that, though, when you're weaving in and out, I almost had it. It was right there. But when you're coming in and out, Frogger, when you're leaping from one thing to the other, hey, my age is showing.
That's all right.
But when you're in and out of stuff, you're not necessarily present. You know, when you're weaving and bobbing through traffic, everything is about getting to the finish line, right? You don't enjoy, well, I don't enjoy commuting, so this is probably the worst part of it. However, you can't get to your destination without doing it here, because we live in a populous place, and you know, something that's 5 minutes away, depending on what time of day you go, it could end up taking 25 minutes. Or if there's an accident or detour or, you know, construction or whatever it may be, it changes your commute, and you may have to make some detours or get rerouted, and that's okay. Even in the rerouting, you know, if you listen to GPS and you miss your turn, Siri or whoever, whichever maps program, will reroute you to your destination, which may take you, it could add time to your trip or whatever. But like I said earlier, there's no wasted time in God, because even in the detour, if we take the time, we may encounter someone along the way, and we are a part of their journey. Just like they're on the road, just like we are, they may be getting rerouted. And God has a way of doing that when we miss our turn, because we were either distracted or we weren't paying attention to the instructions or whatever that might be, which adds to what I'm saying. There's no wasted time. However, detours do impact the completion of project or the getting to your destination.
Mhm.
And if we're not careful, we can get frustrated or take on other things that may not have been a part of our assignment, and we don't get to finish our task. And
Well,
it's important to start what we're finishing and not getting distracted by the detours that happen and pick up something else. And sometimes that's what we'll do is, oh, that looks great. That's like that shiny new object over here. The media does it all the time when they don't want you to pay attention to what's really going on. They put up little shiny objects over here to divert everybody's attention. And meanwhile, while we're looking and talking about that, there's something else major going on. And we get distracted and forget to go back to it, or we don't put the motivation to get back to it. We lose some of that. So as you know, now, you know, we're thinking about this. Well, actually it's 8:30. Wow, that went really fast. I'm gonna have Sade to come back on because this list is got to be another book. And this one, you have to complete this because oh, for real, this is not something you can put off to the side and never pick it back up. Because the 25-year-old self, these are talking points that you learn through your journey.
mhm.
And sometimes learning what not to do is more valuable than knowing what to do, because knowing what not to leads you down the path to what I should be doing. Because you don't waste a whole lot of time figuring out all this. So I'm gonna leave people with this statement, and when you come back, this is where we're gonna start. You notice I said when. I didn't say when because she gets to choose when that is. We both do. And if it's no today, it might be yes tomorrow, right? Isn't that what we just talked about tonight? So it doesn't mean she has to, but if and when she chooses to, then done is better than perfect.
Oh,
Show.
that's the story of my life.
That's the next time you're available to say yes. I want us to talk about done being better than perfect.
Yes and yes.
And I want us to talk about that because perfectionism has almost killed me.
Mhm.
And that one's going to speak to me. So it's my show and I get to pick, I get to choose what I believe is something that's really wearing us out.
Mhm.
And this is why we're not finishing in the time frame, because we struggle with being perfect, so we never get it done.
Mhm.
It's never done because it ain't until it's perfect, which is impossible. So I know you guys want Sade to come back. So no, don't go do your Facebook Live because I'm gonna show up on your Facebook Live while you talking about it. I think you guys enjoy Sade because, you know, yeah, Sade, oh gosh, she just makes me cry every time she comes on. Your yes means, you saying yes to me means more than you know.
No, I always appreciate the invitation, and I do not take it lightly at all. So thank you.
I appreciate your yes because it's always life-changing for me. So thank you, sister. And she gonna let me know when she's back, and y'all will see her picture.
Yes, and
I'm hoping she can say yes to next week, but if she can't, whenever she said yes. See,
yes.
It is her choice. So part 2 is gonna be done is better than perfect.
Sounds good to me.
So we're gonna learn how to get things done without it having to be perfect. And so for that, I love you, Sade. Love you, Dr. Lady Rain. Her show, you guys, for them early risers, y'all already know. Oh, she. Okay, see, you know, I wouldn't know because I'm asleep. I keep that real, y'all. Okay, so she hadn't been back yet. See, so when she come back, y'all gonna know. Because y'all, them early morning people, she just gonna surprise y'all and just be live. Y'all keep us in prayer because our shows are being honored at the Spin Awards coming up in 2 weeks. We'll be in Atlanta. And I'm prayerful that I'm gonna be selfish that my show actually won the nomination. I'm just gonna believe God that I'm winning the award. I'm gonna be in Atlanta. My husband's going to Atlanta. Dr. Lady Rain's gonna be in Atlanta, and this time she gonna actually be there. She gonna be present because there ain't gonna be nothing that's gonna be happening. No detours for her. We're gonna all be there when she's there to accept her award. Quite a few shows on this platform got nominated for a Spin Award, and I think I was nominated in 2 or 3 areas. Different people I don't even remember what I was nominated for, but one of them I know was at this time slot. So I hope y'all voted and voted and voted because I'm gonna need that award. I need that award. So yeah. But yes, next week we're gonna talk about done is better than perfect. And so we're gonna do this. And along the way you tweak and do what you gotta do. But it don't have to be perfect to get started. So
yes.
God bless you guys. Thank you for obliging me at the Momentum Shift. And we will see you next week. I'll be on with my sister again. No other than the greatest. Sade, Bradford-Bond. I almost called you Brown. I didn't rename her. Y'all, good night.
I don't know about the greatest.
You are the greatest of your domain. We're all great. We're all the greatest. We're all the GOAT. Everybody's the GOAT. Because we don't compare. That's down here on here too. No comparisons. So good night, y'all. Love y'all. See you next week.
You are tuned in to that praisey station, praise.fm, where we get our praise on, 24 hours, 7 days a week.